Now, last week, EA Sports F1 Twitter account released this tweet: new season, fresh start. Obviously, a lot of people think this is going to be a new game engine. I don't think so. Here's why. If we go to the Xbox Store page, as you can see on screen now, one of the big indicators is it's playable on Xbox One. So basically, what this is confirming, this is the official Xbox Store page, that it's available on previous / current gen consoles, whatever you want to call them. You know, the Xbox One, and I think also the PS4, although I haven't seen anything from Sony's side yet. Although there is availability on that, as I'll show you in a minute. But basically, Xbox One and the Xbox Series X and S, it's going to be on multi-platform. So why would you develop a new game engine for a console that won't be generating a game, possibly from early as next year? Now, obviously, there hasn't been quite the exodus from Xbox One to Xbox Series S and PS4 to PS5. There's still a lot of players on the older generation of console, mainly because game developers keep producing games for these consoles, so players have no reason whatsoever to chuck out a perfectly good console and upgrade. Now, the other reason why I don't think there's going to be a new game engine for this year's game is due to the fact that of another game's coming out, Forza Motorsport. It's a big game. It's rumoured in June. Similarly, when the F1 game is, the F1 game last year was released the last week of June, the first week of July. That's close to, F1 and Codemasters don't want to be putting a game when all the casual players will be playing Forza Motorsport. Now, the question is where they're going to try and fit it in, because obviously, like I suspect with F1 Manager, I reckon if EA and Codemasters had announced a later date in August for F1 22, I reckon that Frontier would have released F1 Manager 22 in June, I reckon. But because EA announced their date first, I think that they decided they were going to delay the game, iron out a lot of the issues, and they're still creating patches now for F1 Manager. I think there was a patch released today actually for that. But basically, obviously we haven't even got around to F1 Manager 23, whether that's going to figure in. I think EA and Codemasters are going to wait on the release date, because Forza Motorsport's going to have a big impact on their player base, because obviously lots of the casual players will probably not be playing F1 while Forza Motorsport is out. Now, obviously, a few months down the line, the game would have got old, but there's an issue here. If they decide to delay their game back to August, which they could do, or they could bring it early. There are rumours that it could be an earlier release. I don't think we're going to see the game. The game's going to be... Last year, they announced the game 2 months before release, which is uncharacteristic for them, because they usually have a 3-month window from announcing the game to launch, which allows for all the advertising, the marketing, etc. Last year they did it 2 months, and I suspect that was because of FOM having a hissy fit over the F1 Life. They didn't like it, and they didn't want people racing supercars online. Now, obviously, we haven't had anything. There's silence on the front of any game links at the moment, but as soon as they are found, I will try and make a video on it as well, as long as they're legit, as opposed to others that have been put on Reddit and the people have created them to try and get views. Now, away from the Xbox store to Game. Basically, Game, for those of you not in the UK, it's a store that sells video games. Basically, I haven't been one for ages, but their website is notoriously bad for revealing stuff. Which, funny enough, there's not actually a lot, compared to previous years where we've had so much leaked beforehand or by these stores. It's been pretty tame at the moment, considering this is all we've got. But the price, Game are allowing pre-orders, and the pricing is different because they're selling a PS4 version and an Xbox One version for £10 cheaper than the PS5 and Xbox Mini Fridge version. So you can see here this PS5 version. I doubt this will be the final cover art. It's just the temporary cover art until the game gets announced. $64.99 and $54.99 for the older console versions as well. But obviously it does take a long time. Maybe we've seen Hogwarts Legacy, which has come out on new generation of consoles, in February, and the previous generation are going to have to wait 3 months to be able to play the same game. And if you don't get started on the likes of Switch, which I think it's June now. So obviously there is that opportunity that they could delay the release on older generation of consoles, for example, or only just release the normal version and not the version that you get 3 days early. Although that version you get 3 days early in the past hasn't really delivered anything else of benefit for paying the extra money other than playing the game early. So just to cap on a few other things that you may or may not have seen, but just a reminder, but there's the new header for F1's Twitter, I presume any other social media platforms. Basically, there's 2 coordinates on there, and those are the coordinates, the WGS84 coordinates, I should say. If you're not familiar with GPS, it's basically the world's most predominant used positioning system. But I won't go into that. Those are the 2 coordinates for Las Vegas and Qatar as well. 2 new tracks in F1. Las Vegas is definitely going to be very popularised. I'm sure when we get down to it, there's going to be about 4 million things in the podium pass at that point as well. But one of the things that's been shown off is the FOM car, and it's a new one because, of course, nobody wanted to use it because the front wing was gopping as well. It was worse than the Red Bull front wing with that gopping yellow bit at the front, which they've reduced for this year. Now, obviously, it is a new car, so whether or not they've changed other stuff like the handling, because obviously the past 2 F1 games have been plagued by serious issues where the player has a disadvantage compared to the AI. In F1 2021, every high-speed corner, the AI were doing supersonic speeds. In F1 22, the AI have superior traction to you. Now, obviously, they have tried to fix them. It didn't work. They reduced the amount of traction. It's not quite as much. It's not quite as bad, but it is still bad. They still gain quite a lot out of slow speed corners on F122. Now, obviously, the problem is, as I said, I'm going to come back to Forza Motorsport. The release date of that is I think is crucial for when F1 is out, and I think if Forza Motorsport picks a particular date, and if there's a chance that Codemasters and EA can get F123 out early, then I think they'll go for it. Even if the game is in its usual broken mess, they will guarantee, if there's an opportunity that they think they'll be able to promote the game in time and get enough interest in the game and get enough pre-orders to be able to launch the new game, then they'll go for it as well. But yes, let me know what you think to F123. Are you going to buy it? Let me know in the comments below. If you are new around here, then please do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 gaming content, and further F1 23 game news. So yes, until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.